I am not a financial expert. In fact, it's just been in the last 2 years that I've actually come to understand money. I work directly with a financial advisor who spends all of his time watching the markets and following the trends and learning about what the different programs are that are going on. So this information is going to come from what I've learned with working with him and also the research that I've done. I've been watching the several conversations that this country is having about money and how the government is handling it. And I've been running into comments that aren't so smart. And I'm angry, and I want to talk about it today because there is a lot going on in this world that is beautiful that we actually need to be grateful for. And spending our time judging the government for how they are or are not handling things, being mad at the people who are hoarding toilet paper, complaining that President Trump is doing one thing and not another, being angry that Bernie Sanders dropped out of all of this is not helping us at all. And doing so publicly and feeding the cycle of erroneous information is actually leading to our downfall. Hey, let me turn off my phone's ringer. Sorry about that. So what I'm going to share with you is I'm sharing this in hopes of a few things. Number one, that you're able to find some clarity in the stuff that I share today. Number two, that you take me seriously when I invite you to step into gratitude for our government specifically and for what they are doing in support of this nation. And number three, that you will have some factual information that you can share so that we can maybe stop this cycle of fabricated stories and confusing information that's out there. So the government stimulus package is a monster of money. The first thing to consider about this sort of package is it's huge in scale, which means it's going to require a lot of moving parts for it to work. There's going to be a lot of people involved and a lot of new systems and a lot of new programs and a lot of new security that's going to have to come online to support this money transfer that is happening all around this nation in the fastest way possible. This means there's going to need to be time for the technicians to build these systems. There's going to need to be time for the security to be checked and to make sure that it is as safe as possible. So before you get your panties in a wad about where your money is, please consider the fact that these humans are working as fast as possible to make this happen. So this gigantic package of the stimulus package is designed to keep us afloat and stimulate our economy. My invitation to you, just on that alone, is to be very, very aware of where you're spending that money. Do everything in your power to spend that money locally and at the most nationally. Try to keep your money inside this nation so it expands our economy. This package has many, many, many layers, and I think that's part of the reason why everybody is confused. Big money, lots of layers, government legalese, on top of media-provoked fear, and then combine that with this overarching experience of scarcity and lack that we've been living with for too many centuries, and you have the perfect recipe for confusion. So, simplest terms, there is a lot of money rolling out from the government. The government had to go through a lot of hoops to create this money, to literally pull this money through the system to infuse it into the nation. So they did start with large corporations because supporting the large corporations first would support the most amount of humans in this nation, because large corporations employ big blocks of employees, and therefore if they support the corporations first, the corporations can support the employees, and we have a big infusion of money that way. So that was the first layer. The next layer was to support households. So you've heard last week the stimulus checks started going out. Now I'm saying checks because there's no paper checks right now. The money, the stimulus money that's being deposited right now is being done digitally through ACH transactions directly into your bank account if the government has your direct deposit information on file from your 2018 or 2019 taxes. So if you have your direct deposit information on file with them already, you should be seeing that within the next couple weeks. The government has said they are building a portal to receive everybody else's direct deposit information. But as you can imagine, given that we will be giving them so much personal identification information that is highly sensitive, they have to be assured that the technology is protected, that the level of security on that system is pristine. That will take some time. So if you didn't have to pay taxes, if you didn't have a refund coming to you in 2018 or 2019, or you haven't filed your taxes for those 2 years, you'll have to wait until that portal opens. If you are not comfortable with using a portal to give over that information, you will be able to receive a check. There is a lot, but the checks won't go out for about 5 to 6 months, they say. So there is a lot of working parts and pieces in that part alone. There's $1,200 going out per person for every person that has filed their taxes for 2018 and 2019. If you are a person who is living on Social Security and you have your Social Security check deposited every month into your account via ACH, you're golden. You don't have to do anything. It will come to you automatically. Those of you who have filed your taxes for 2018 and 2019, who have children, the government is also sending $500 per dependent in your household that you claimed on your taxes. So that is the money that's coming out to households and how it's being dispersed. This money, this stimulus check, is a tax credit. And I could go into what that means, but I really don't have the words to describe it. There's a lot of information out there about it. My favorite article that I found that puts it in simple layman's term is on Snopes.com. They have broken it down in layman's terms in that article, and the simplified way that they describe it completely corroborates the very intense financial expert information that's out there. So if you're interested in learning more about how you don't have to pay this back, why this is not a loan, why it will not affect your tax returns or your refunds, I will post it in the comments. That was the way that the stimulus package is going to help households. Another way that the stimulus package is helping corporations is a thing called the EIDL. And this stands for, the government loves acronyms. The EIDL stands for Economic Injury and Disaster Relief Loan. So they have created at USA.gov, they have created special forms specifically for the corona situation that we're in right now, for COVID-19 and the quarantine and everything that's going on in the world. These are low interest loans that have within them up to $10,000 of a forgivable grant. This means $10,000 of money that the government is going to give to you as a business to keep your company afloat in these times. So these loans, these were the first layer of loans to open up. And at the time when they opened up, the only place you could apply for them was through USA.gov, which is where I applied for them almost 3 weeks ago. I applied the day that they opened up. I still haven't heard anything on that. So I'm not sure where that process is. I have not yet heard of anybody that has received their $10,000 grant or their approval for their loan through the government. I read an article somewhere that said they're having humans process the millions of loans that have come, or loan applications that have come in from businesses. So this could be a very slow and tedious process. I ask you to be patient with that. The next layer of support is for the small businesses. Now they've come up with, they hit an issue. Small businesses were categorized as having 500 employees or less. And then large corporations were categorized as having a bigger chunk of employees. But there's a middle ground between the small businesses and the large corporations that didn't get covered anywhere, that they are now going back to the drawing board to find out how to support those businesses. Additionally, small businesses, in the first wave of funding for small businesses, were only given approvals based on whether or not you had W-2 employees. Now, for people like me who are self-employed or independent contractors, we don't have employees. Therefore, we did not qualify for that round of funding. I did apply during that time on April 4th through my credit union. I had applied a week earlier through the SBA at sba.gov. I've heard nothing from the SBA. Again, it's a government entity, so it's probably way bogged down. My credit union, however, reached out to me and said, hey, as a small business owner, we have this opportunity. They are an approved creditor and an approved lender from the government. So they reached out and said, we are supporting our small businesses. Please apply for this loan. So I did. Now, that loan, there are two different loans that are happening for the SBAs, for the small businesses. One is called an SBA bridge loan, which is a low interest loan. And another one is called, I call it the Triple P. It's the Small Business Association Paycheck Protection Plan, or Paycheck Protection Program. 3 Ps. 2 separate layers, okay? So you can apply for a bridge loan. You can also apply for the Triple P. The Triple P, the first wave of the Triple P funding has been consumed. There's no more left. I got my denial letter on April 8th, and they said the program's out of funding. We have to go back to the drawing board. And that first wave was for only those businesses, small businesses, who had W-2 employees, up to 500 W-2 employees. The next wave, which opened up today, the next wave of applications that opened up today, were for independent contractors, sole proprietors, and self-employed people, me. So this is another wave. They've gotten the funding secured for this. And again, because according to my credit union, because I had already applied in the first wave, they bumped my application into the second wave because I was denied in the first wave, and just sent me notification about an hour ago that my application had been reviewed. They had everything that they needed, and they were pushing it through to the SBA for funding. Not for funding, let me rephrase that. Pushing it through to the SBA for consideration of funding. Nothing is guaranteed. And unfortunately, right now, money is finite. And the government is doing everything in its power to continue funding these programs so our nation can stay afloat. I have a dear friend that lives in Canada, and he shared with me today that his country is sending out $2,000 a month to everyone who has lost their job because of this until they are employed again. However, that $2,000 is taxable. So they're actually treating it as an income. The money that the government here in the United States is infusing into our country is at this point not taxable. And at this point, it is either extremely low interest, if none at all. It is a big, big gift. So again, I'm going to go back to the beginning and I'm going to invite you to keep breathing. This is confusing. I get it. It's slow, which makes the confusion grow. It makes the fear get bigger. This is a huge, huge monster of money machine that is trying to roll forth. It is going to take time. Be patient. Stop sharing information that is not true. Stop. It's just making the confusion worse. If you find something that you're like, oh, that's interesting, I think I'll share it, please stop before you share it and check credible sources. Every time one of us chooses to share information that's not true, it creates a domino effect of grand proportion in an environment where fear is already thick. This virus is more dangerous to our mental and emotional health than it is to our physical health. You have the power to do life differently right now by choosing how you show up, choosing how you spread the virus or the mind virus that's going on. So please be very cautious about the information you're putting out there and be aware of the messages that you're sharing. You may understand something incorrectly. Please check first. So just to recap, the stimulus package has $1,200 per person plus $500 per dependent based on your 2018-2019 taxes. If you're a Social Security benefit recipient, you will receive it automatically. You don't have to do anything. If you have direct deposit on file with the government, you won't have to do anything. You'll receive it directly. If you don't, there are measures being put into place, so in the near future, you will be able to provide that information so that the government can ACH the money to you. Large corporations have received their funding and bridge loans to bridge the gap during this time. Small businesses are receiving their funding, their bridge loans, and those who have between 1 and 500 W-2 employees have already begun the process of qualification, and many of them have been approved. The other loan you can apply for is the EIDL, the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, which is through USA.gov. The SBA.gov has bridge loans. Your bank or your credit union, I suggest starting there for the PPP SBA loans, the Paycheck Protection Plan loans that the SBA is doing. It looks like the banks, your personal bank or your business bank or credit union is having more movement than actually going straight to the SBA. And for those of you that are sole proprietors, independent contractors, or self-employed like I am in an LLC, but a single member LLC, those applications open today. So get them filled out. Again, I recommend going to your credit union where you have, or your bank where you have a relationship with, or you can go to SBA.gov and apply there. I'm super fired up about this because for me, I am grateful, so very grateful to be witness to the love and compassion that our government is showing. Yes, it could be a self-serving move to fund the nation and businesses and households. And yeah, it probably is a choice to keep the nation economically afloat, but they don't have to do it. They really don't. And so for me, even though I can see the ripple effects that this is going to send out across the next few decades, right now I have a sense of peace about this, that there is hope. Choose to focus on the gratitude. Choose to stay out of complaining. Please stay out of the complaining and the blame and the pointing fingers and the conspiracy theories. Seriously, people. The government moves way too slowly for conspiracy theories to thrive, and they're a little bit distracted right now to be in the middle of any sort of conspiracy. Choose gratitude. Gratitude. Choose peace. Choose love. Choose questions. My favorite question right now is, is there another way I could be seeing this right now? Another fun question is, what could I possibly be missing about this? Two very powerful questions that open you up to the universe that has all the information. So check your sources, post things that are true, remember to breathe, focus on gratitude, and create yourself a beautiful day. I love you. Mwah. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.